Hey everybody, it's Gil here with the Sailing Vessel Dream Chaser, and this quarantine sheltering in place is just driving everybody nuts, so we decided we had to get out. Today is April the 12th. It actually is mine and Deb's 28th wedding anniversary and Easter Sunday this year, so we decided to just get out of the house for a little bit. We hopped in the car. We'll do a little geocaching. We're just doing some sightseeing of things that we can do in the car, so we're still isolated here. Hey girls, you want to wave? I guess the answer to that is no, they don't want to wave, but there they go. So yeah, we'll drive over to Pine Island and go up near Bokeelia, just because it's a pretty little area where I think we can just take a step outside and look at the water. Sometimes I'll see dolphins out there and stuff, so that's pretty cool. There's a cool restaurant we've gone there before to eat at, but they're doing to-go orders only, obviously, so we decided not to do that because, I don't know, a seafood platter in the car doesn't sound great. But, you know, we're having a good time. We'll see what else is out there and see if we can do a little bit of sightseeing and getting out of the house when we're still staying isolated from everybody else. We've got our disinfectant wipes, and we're not getting out of the car if we're around other people. I'm certainly not going in anywhere, except I do have to stop and get gas somewhere, so we'll stop and get gas for the car. All right, let's see what we see. Social distancing, but getting out of the house for sure. Happy Easter.
When you leave Bokeelia and go south on Pine Island, you get to the main drag that sort of goes back to the mainland. Keep in mind this is an island out here. And it's a really cool little town called Matlacha. That's what this drive is through. It's kind of this little artsy, eclectic town. There's a bunch of art galleries and boutiques and resale shops and a couple of restaurants. It's really interesting because that seems a little bit, higher class, if you will, the boutiques and art galleries, but then the whole area is kind of a little fishing village, like a little vacation fishing village. It's really a nice drive. Every time we go out here, I sort of just enjoy rolling down the windows, smelling the fresh, salt air, hearing the breeze, hearing the water and boats out there, and then just seeing all the people walking down the road. And this is kind of going from the mainland out toward Matlacha. There's two bridges that you go over, and this is, I think this is the first one if you're heading east, though I was heading west at this point, so coming back from Pine Island to the mainland. Really pretty cool. We took the girls out here one time to the Leona Lovegrave art gallery and bought some pictures to hang in their room. Really cool places with some neat things to see. It's a cool town to just stroll around in for, an afternoon or something, but we had a good time. And there's a little view of Matlacha as we went through it. It probably is only 1.5 miles wide across or something like that.
This is the drive out toward Everglades City.
Once you get right into Everglades City, there's a ton of airboat tour rides. Obviously all closed down with COVID, so we stepped out in the parking lot and filmed that particular statue. But from that parking lot, look at this. Look how fast this tide is running. This is actually just the tide. This is not normally a current flowing river. Crazy. And we just drove around and we found this cool little housing development. It was interesting, just sitting right on the marsh on one side, the homes on the other side of the road, and right on the backs of the homes was water again. So these were just sitting out on a little peninsula. So pretty cool looking. Don't know that I'd really want to live there. It was a pretty remote area. Most homes were up on stilts. So definitely more of a fishing community village vibe or feel. And as we were leaving Everglades City, we saw these little buggies. So when this COVID thing lifts, that would be a blast to do. And then you just never know what you're going to see. As we drove, we saw plenty of these signs too. No panthers, but the signs. So we had a great drive just kind of checking out Southwest Florida, but we came back and looked at the footage from the cameras on the boat from just a couple of days earlier, and it's amazing what you see. Regular old day, people out on the boats, and then evening comes and in roll the storms. Now I have this set to fast footage, which basically takes an entire 24-hour period and only focuses on the heavy motion and then records little fast motion snippets. I'll just let this play through and you can see all the lightning and watch that boat rocking, man. It's pretty scary stuff. So just to give you an idea on what this is like, sort of real time, I'm going to just pull some of the footage from the storm without speeding it up and with the sound on, not me talking in the background. The wind subsides, the lightning slows down, and then morning breaks. And the interesting thing is it's right back to a normal day on the lake. So again, fast motion based on movement in front of the camera. And you'll see as the morning progresses, all of a sudden people start heading in and out by their boats. So you'll see them all tooling on by our boat. Again, remember that motion triggers it. So you'll see a lot of these types of actions here where, you know, it's amazing how well this camera system works too, by the way. I have filtered this just for the presence of people. So each of those people on the boat sort of triggers that activity. It's amazing how detailed and accurate you can set up the alerts on it.
So we're going to talk all about LED lighting, strip lighting specifically. Back on last affair, Deb and I had actually installed LED strip lighting. We hung it in the owner's stateroom along the top of the ceiling behind a set of molding. The nice thing about that was you could use a little radio frequency controller and change the brightness or even the color or the warm or coolness of the lights. They've come a long way in the 9 years or so since we did that, 8 years ago that we did that on the boat. And I thought, as we think about projects we're going to do on Dream Chaser, I wanted to start to explore maybe some cooler ways to do this, where you could do a whole theme on the entire boat, color or brightness, etc. As I mentioned before, they've come a really long way, and if you think about people's homes, there's a ton of home automation software out there and control units. The interesting thing about almost all LED strip lights is they run on either 5 volts or 12 volts. So when you go to IKEA for your home and you buy an LED set of strip lights and they have a little adapter, that's just changing your home's 110 volts AC down to 12 volts DC in most cases. Certainly check the packaging and make sure. This one's kind of interesting. This is an LED glass touch controller. Yeah, 12 or 24 volts. I bought this years ago. My thought was it would be cool to mount inside the boat. That was about 4 years ago when we bought Dream Chasers when I got it. And you can see it would be real easy. It's a small square panel. I could just cut a small hole in the actual bulkhead and then have this thing mounted right in there. I like the look. I think it's a kind of a neat look. I don't know how much it lights up, but let's go ahead and connect this and see what it does. It's very similar to the other ones. I have a voltage positive and negative. I have white, red, green, blue, and then the 2 voltage positives and a voltage negative. So my guess is the 2 on the far side are input voltages and the 4 on the right side are output voltages. But I'll take a look and see if I have instructions. I don't even remember if any came with it. Oh, there are some. Well, look at there. Maybe we'll be able to figure it out. It's interesting, as I noticed that this is made by ROHS. It's the same company that makes a light panel that we put in the house. I control the hallway light with it, and then was able to set up 2 other buttons to program them to do other things. So when the girls get up and they need to use the restroom and they come out of the room in the hallway, if they push the top button, it turns the hall light on. If they want to turn on a light like a night light in the living room so they can get through the house without tripping over something, they can hit the bottom light and it does it. So kind of a neat little setup. Let's go ahead and open this up. We'll connect up the LED strip before we connect the power. So I am going to loosen up my red, green, blue, and positive going to the LED strips here. Positive, we'll go ahead and put the red in. And what's interesting is on these little LED lights, man, these wires are so small. There's so little voltage and amperage, or so little amperage going through these. It's pretty amazing how small they are. Next one is green. And the last one is blue. Got that. Let's go ahead and see if this positive is going to fit in here. This is kind of a big wire for this small switch, but let's see if it'll fit. Yeah, it looks like it will. And now we'll go with the negative. I'm just going to bend this wire a little bit just to take some of the strain off of it. They're so close to each other, and I got a pretty rough strip on them, so I'm just being really careful here. So if we're on blue, let's see, it's power on and power off, and we can dim them. So it says. And we can also just move our finger around this colored circle and choose the color we want there, which is kind of neat. This is one of the modes. It looks like it's probably some kind of a slow fade. Pretty interesting, right? I have it upside down as I'm showing it to you, but power on and off. You could just come up and hit one of the keys. So you can also just push anywhere around this ring. If I go to the red, it goes red. If I go over here to the green, that's the color it is, purple, whatever. So you can do that as well. And when you do, it indicates in the color of the power button there as well what color the lights are. These are really nice. These are dense. I don't remember how many LEDs there are per foot, but every inch has 3 to 4. So there's going to be quite a few on this. It's a nice dense light. Could work great for under cabinet lighting or even in track lighting on a ceiling, especially for a boat. Keep in mind, LEDs are much more efficient than incandescent bulbs, but if you're going to have 150 LED lights on it, you are still taking some amperage out of the system. I will say, I've looked before on our boat. We put LED puck lights, and each LED puck light has 13 LEDs inside of it, and we have 8 of them in the salon alone. Typically we'll only turn a couple on, but when we turn them all on, it's beautifully bright for anything you want to do, reading a book, anything. And they still take less juice than 2 incandescent bulbs that we used to have in the old dome lights sitting on the top of the boat there on the ceiling. So it's a nice alternative for sure. LED lights have come down so much in price. If you're willing to wait a little bit, I don't think there's a significant difference in quality between what you buy from somewhere local or even a marine store versus what you can get if you go to one of the importing sites on Amazon. I can put some links down below for them where I get these. Like I said, this is 15 feet of LED lights and maybe 20 bucks. Like it's just dirt cheap. You can also cut them. So if you need a certain length, there's little markings on them about every 6 inches that says cut here. And if you cut it right between that area, you can, cut it in one area, solder a couple of wires on it, run the wire to the next area, and continue on a long strip. Even if you were doing, for example, in our boat, we would likely do that inside of the cabinets. So we'd have maybe 12 to 18 inches long in one, and then I would solder 2 wires together, go to the next cabinet, and a couple in that one. And they would just be nice small strips that are just the right size for each cabinet, and it's easy enough to do. Closing up my LED packs and calling it a day. Alexa, turn off the shop lights.
Okay.
Bye, y'all.